Okay, have I say? We have to learn Torah.
Uh-huh.
Yeheim chayenu,
Take your,
v'ayich yameinu.
make sure you're both,
Amen. I see Amen. Zoom.
and I'll just, let's see.
Yeah, the Zoom, yeah?
Who's, comedian's one?
I'm on the
It's
Zoom.
good rice. We keep. No. We need a sushi. It's a
that's
song. It's a song, yeah, they'll figure.
Okay, Rabbi Sai,
It's,
tonight we're going to take a look at a shtickle Gemara, and then on a part of a Sikh of the Rebbe.
you have one from.
We have a Gemara here. We have a Gemara here in Sachim Daf Gimel. The Gemara is um, it's about 12 lines from the bottom of the Amud. 14, I think. 14 lines from the bottom of the Amud. The line starts with Nagi. Nun Gimel Hey Yud. In the middle of the line, it says Vitana Didan. See? Adam sees?
Mm-hmm.
This is a Mishnah Psachim. The Mishnah Psachim starts off Oyer La'arba Aser Oitkin Chametz. Oyer doesn't say Leil Arba Aser. Oyer La'arba Aser.
Like,
It says the Gemara Vitana Didan My Time Aloy Katani Leili. Why does our Tana not say Leil Arba Aser? Lishne Ma'al Yehuda Nokat. The Mishnah did not want to teach the Lashon, say a Lashon. The Mishnah wanted to say a Lashon, a nice Lashon. Oyer, light, Lichtigkeit. Okay, Rabbi Shua ben Levi, like Rabbi Shua ben Levi taught us. The Amr Rabbi Shua ben Levi taught. La'olam al yotzi adam davar meguna mipiv. A person should never utter out of his mouth anything inappropriate. The pasuk, the kasuf, went out of its way and added an extra 8 letters in the Torah. We know every word in the letter in the Torah is exact, bediktuk. And not, thank you, in order not to say something not appropriate. What's the raya? Shenemar in this week's Parshas Noach. Noach was told by Hashem to take into the teva min habehema hatahoira, one of the behema she'einena tahoira. It could have said min habehema hatmeya, behema which is tummy. It said asher einena and added in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Asher einena is 8 letters. Tahoira and hatmeya is the same amount of letters, all 5. Means the Torah wrote 13 letters instead of writing 5. Means the Torah added an extra 8 letters to the Torah to write Asher Einena Tahira. It didn't say Hatmeya. Take the Talmudic animal, that which is not Talmud. The Papa Amar, Papa says, we're about 10 lines from the bottom of the Amar, it says Tahira. The Papa Amar Tesha. 9 letters extra in the Torah. Shenemar ki b'cha ish asher lo yetar mikrei loylo. It says ki b'cha ish. Could have said ki b'cha ish tame mikrei loylo. Says asher lo yiyah. There's an extra 9 letters. The Torah added 9 letters. If he's a man that is not tahir, didn't say that he's tamei. Ravina Amar Eser, 10 letters. Vav the tar. He counts in tahir. The word tahir can be written with a vav, without a vav. Malay chaser. Because when you say a choilam, you could say choilam hey tahir. You could say choilam with a vav. We added a vav. So without the vav, it's 9 letters extra. With the vav, 10. But if Achav Yaakov Amar Sheish Esrei, we find a pasuk in the Torah by Shaul HaMelech when he was asking when he was wondering where David HaMelech was. He had escaped, right? Skipped town. Where was he? It says, Ki Amar Mikre hu bilti taru ki loy tar. Shaul HaMelech didn't ask about him because he thought to himself, maybe he's not Tahir, so that's why he didn't come to the Shchodesh Suda. Today's Shchodesh, right? He didn't come to the Suda because he wasn't Tahir. Over here, there's an extra 16 letters. We're not going through to show each one, just take time. We're going to rely that the back of the actually said it was 16 letters. Tanya Devei Rabbi Shmuel Oilam Misaper Adam Balash Mekia. Here's a different ayah. Rabbi Shmuel, Shiva Rabbi Shmuel, they taught by a zav, which is tamei, a man who's tamei, kare merkav. It says he makes his merkav tamei when the saddle that he rides on, the riding saddle, merkav, from the same word as reichev, riding, makes a tamei called merkav. The isha, a woman is tamei, kare moishav. It says a seat, not a merkav riding. Why? Because a woman, when a person rides, they have to split their feet. A woman that's not sneeze to split the feet.
Yeah.
The woman would sit on the side of the horse.
Okay.
They would
With the two legs.
sit two legs on one side instead of to the. So the Torah says the Torah women sometimes have to ride also. We'll see soon. The Torah could have chosen to write America, but Moshe said to write Moshe. By a woman, that's more edel.
It's not dangerous for the woman to ride on the side.
They had ways how they did it. They were
Interesting.
They do it till today. Now there is a way. We're going to see soon that there were cases that they did ride when it was dangerous in certain situations, when they were nervous. But they had a way normally how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, the Brisa continues on and brings another pasuk from Iu. Vativkar loshin arumim. Arumim means the smart ones. The nachash arum. The nachash is a smart snake, smart one. Arum is the smart ones. Vativkar loshin, the smart people. I mean, the chachamim vativkar loshin. They choose their language. They talk. Choose their language. This continuing the Brisa. Further the Brisa, another pasuk also in Iyuv. V'omer das v'asai barer mileloi. A person should speak his clearly. Das v'asai. The knowledge of my lips should come out barer milele clearly, meaning speak refined. So the Gemara asks, "My v'omer, what was wrong with Bishmal Bararaya, Merkav and Moshev? Why didn't he bring another pasuk for Tivchar Lasharumim? My v'omer, v'chitei mahanim l'deraisa, abal d'Rabbanan loy tashma v'omer v'Tivchar Lasharumim. A person, if he would just know the pasuk of Merkav and Moshev that we write by Isha Moshe, he might think that's when the Torah talks. When the Torah speaks, it uses clean lashon, naki. Mm-hmm. However, when Chachamim, the Rabbanan, they're giving shiurim, who says they have to speak that way? Who says that they have to speak that love, that standard? But tivche lashon arumim, that the arumim choose their lashon, even when the arumim give their shiurim, and they teach their talmidim, but tivche lashon, they choose the language they speak. Now, why do we have the next va'omer, the next raya, v'das svasai baram milele? V'chitei mahani milu d'Rabbana v'milu d'Amaloi. Va'omer v'das svasai baram milele. I might think if I just had the pasuk tifcha lashon arumim, it's only when the chacham are teaching Torah they have to teach in the lashon naki. What happens if they speak out worldly matters? What's the weather? Whatever it might be. Then they could talk davar maguna. No. We learn that from the pasuk. Always you should speak clearly,
not even
even if it's not. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Choshech, Leila Ba'asa, Leila is not a Davar Maguna. But still in all, it is a better way of saying things. You want to say something not in the negative way, say something always more positive. So, so what are left on? Now, now, goes on further. We're holding now the third line from the bottom of the page. Middle of the line, Isha like Siba Merkav. The Gemara asks, by women, you never find in the Torah that we use the word Merkav, riding by women. We find many times. And the Gemara is going to discuss a number of the times how we deal with it. Rivka, when she was leaving her home to go with Eliezer, Rivka went up and she and her girls, V'tirkavna, Rechiva, Halagmalim on a gamal. Awesome, this is them over there, Mishum Basusa the Gemalim, Orchihi. That's normal when you're riding on a camel. Even women, when they ride on a camel, ride. And camels are very tall. You ever been on a camel?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very high. And when they get up from the floor, they lift you up.
You go like 10, 15 like step. Up, down. Come on.
Yeah.
You go up.
Like picks
You go
himself
down,
up.
go up, down.
When they go down, it's like scary. My children, they all wanted to go, and then they came and they saw, oh my, and they actually saw the camel, they got all scared. So the camel's very tall. So the women, even when they go on a camel, they ride like the men. And then I asked another question, the last line of the page. Moshe, when he wants to go back to Mitzrayim from Midian, he took his wife Tzipora and his children, Gershom and Eliezer, and he put them on the donkey, he rode them on the donkey. Says his wife. His wife went on the riding. And so the Gemara Hassam, he turned over the page. We should give him a bag. The Shembanav Orchahu. The reason why it's in a Chanami, she didn't ride riding. She rode on the side. But her sons, they were boys, they rode. So because the pasuk says Ishtei ve'ez banav, puts them together, so use the lashon rechiva because by the sons it was rechiva. One final question. Says by Vegayil, she was worried that Novel, her husband, was going to be killed by David HaMelech for being murdered by Malchus. So she was riding on a donkey to David HaMelech to ask David HaMelech to have Rachmanis on him. So she rode, it says, so Gemara Hasa Mishum Biyasusa Delelia Orhu. It was at night. They're afraid to travel at night. Even though it was a donkey, it wasn't a camel, they rode because at nighttime it's harder to travel. Or you could say a different pshat. Mishum Biyasusa Delelia Leka. So the David. It wasn't because it was nighttime, because she was afraid. She was going to David HaMelech. She was going to the king. She was worried what's going to be. That's why she was nervous, and she felt she had to have a better grip on the animal. So she rode. Viba say my other say another way, or if you want, you could say Yisusa the David Nami Leka. She was Susa the Harika. It wasn't because of David HaMelech. It wasn't because of night. Because she was going on a mountain. So you were saying before about dangerous. Yes, there are times that a woman, for various reasons, will ride because she feels nervous. She doesn't feel secure. She will ride like men ride. So there are times she rode, and the Torah still in all chooses the word Moshe by the women, even though they could also say Merkav, like I said by the man. Why change it? Merkav by a man who's Tameh, and by a woman also Merkav. Sometimes she does also ride. It chose Moshe because Moshe is a cleaner lashon. Now the Gemara asks the bomb question. We learned over here, going back all the way to the beginning, right? We said that Mina behema asher einena v'hoira. So the Gemara asks, "Beiraisa mi like tame." In Torah, it never says the word tame. There are literally hundreds of times the Torah says tame. Tamehu, Tame all the time we say Tame. So you found a place that we don't say Tame. Hello. Kol heicha dechiadodininu v'shtoi v'loshen. True. You're right, it says Tame. But any time they're equal, it could say Tame or Tahir. The Torah will use the word, which is the Lashon Naki, the same amount of letters and words as the Lashon Tameh, the Torah will use the Lashon Naki, have a choice. Or if the Lashon Naki is going to make us say extra words, extra letters, then no, the Torah is going to speak Lashon Ketzara. Better to speak short, Bekitzer. Kol heicha denefishin mili, when it's going to cause you to say a lot of words by Lashon, in order to speak Lashon Naki, the Torah speaks Lashon Ketzara. I'm a going to stop over here. Now, the Gemara concludes that the klal is that whenever the tummy and the tar are the same amount of words, you say the tar, the good way of saying it. Naki. Whenever saying a Lashon Naki is going to make you say more words, you say the Lashon Tar.
But we found it 13 words and 8 words and 9 words.
So all the
what
Rishonim asked this. How do we deal with this? Say that it's only in order to teach us that this kalal, that you should speak Lashon Naki. The Torah went out of its way to teach you that when they're the same. But Be'etzem, when it teaches you longer, you shouldn't do it. It's a shtickle deichik how you learn it, but the halacha l'mais is only the Torah did it, went and added ikim akaso shmoina teisha eser sheisha oisies in order to teach us the kalal that's important for Lashon Naki. We l'mais ourselves don't do it when it makes an arichus because Torah rather speak for Lashon Tzara. So I have a choice to say davar maguna or Lashon Naki. If it's the same amount of letters, say Lashon Naki. If the Lashon Naki is going to make you speak more words, it's not clear. You have to speak short and clear. Now, the Rebbe has a different way of understanding this shtickle over here. So I'd like everyone to take to look over. We're just going to go back to this over here to the words "Be'raisa midei ksiv tamei." Just a few lines earlier. Okay, we're still here, the same place. Gimel with base. He's going back 7 lines from the top of the page. The line starts with "Be'raisa midei ksiv tamei." In Torah does not say ever the word tamei. The Rebbe has a problem with this. He has a shaila. He says we have a whole Gemara here. The Gemara taught us this rule. Gimel Amid Aleph. Earlier over here, the Gemara taught us this rule. You have Torah speaks B'Lashon Naki in a clean way, refined way. Then the Torah goes and says, then the Gemara brings this 8, 9, 10 letters, 16 letters extra to speak B'Lashon Naki. Then the Gemara brings down a story about Zav Merke by Ishatz Moishav. The Gemara asks questions, why we have this plus, that plus. Finally, the Gemara has this question, B'Raisa mi lo ksiv tamei. Doesn't say tamei. This is such a strong question. As soon as we learn the din that you're supposed to speak Lashon Naki, what do you think right away in your mind? You're not supposed to say the word Tahira. By Noach, Hashem said, all the time the Torah says Behema Tmeya Tamei. All the time. Tamei. Everywhere. Hundreds of times. Why does the Torah wait, the mother wait all the way till here? Suddenly Mitamal, Chabashayla. Raisa me like Siftami. That should have bothered you right away as soon as someone told you this halacha, this drasha. What do you mean? The Torah is full of the word Tami, hundreds and hundreds of times.
Is this the first time the Torah used the word Tome? In the Reish Tome, the word Tome is the first time? Or there's no Tome before?
I don't know.
I'm interesting. It's just the second portion.
Right? I don't know if it says the word Tami, but I don't think so. No. I don't think it says anything. Now, so the Rebbe learns like this. This is the Rebbe's pshat. The Rebbe's like this. Avada, that shaila, is not bothering us. That shaila is not bothering us. That's not the Gemara shaila. It can't be that's the Gemara shaila about the hundreds of times, because then it would have asked it right away. Must be the shaila is something else. It must be that the Gemara is not bothered with all the hundreds of times it is tummy. It's not a problem. Why? Halacha. When you say halacha, you have to say clearly. Tar, tama, you can't go like this. Einenna tahira, asher loy tahir. You can't do that. Halacha has a sak din, has to be clear. Aser, mutter, tame, tar. Otherwise, you speak like this, people think, oh, it's not really aser, it's not really tame. You have to say it clearly. You know? So, thank you. So, therefore, so the Rebbe, the Gemara's whole discussion here was not about psak halacha. That for sure, avada, you have to speak the lashon clear. Can't play games. However, Torah's drasha is these drashas are teaching you whenever it's a story in the Torah, not halacha, or it's the case like we're discussing. He wasn't a Torah. We're not discussing the din. We're saying the situation. Person had a mikre loyla kiloi tar. Ish kiloi tar. What's his din? The yatsum samachana. So when we're discussing the scenario and the case, the story about it, there's no reason to say Lashon Tame. You could say Lashon Naki. So says the Torah, the klal is speak Lashon Naki. The Gemara Mabeis, when the Gemara asks, but I Samilik Sutam, it's not asking about 100 times. It's saying we still find a few places in the Torah that even by a Sipur Dvarim, but just the story and the case, not the halacha of the case, the case, the setting, the background, we also find times where it says Tamei. Here, the Gemara answers, oh, you're right, because it depends whether you're adding extra words or not. That's the cut. If the word Tamei and Tar are the same, then Take, L'oilam, you should speak B'Lashon Naki. Say Tar, even by a story. However, if in order to say B'Lashon Naki, you're going to have to add extra letters and words, that we don't do. So this whole kalal that we learned over here applies for stories. And I don't mean stories like Maisius. I mean the case, the setting, before we get to the psak, tamehu, tar. We say, ish ki tar. When we're talking about the story, what happened to him, the matzav, then we should speak b'lashon naki if it's not going to add extra words. But halacha l'maisa, we find always in the Torah tell me that l'chatchila was never, the Gemara was never discussing it. So Koidim Kol, from here you learn how, I think we're till 10 or till 9?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Now, so today, so from here in this week's Parsha, you see the limud from this Gemara and Pesachim that Gimel, the famous Gemara. From our Parsha, we have the first limud to speak B'Lashon Naki. The Rebbe points out in a Sicha, we find also in this week's Parsha, not only is the Zehirus in Dibur B'Lashon Naki, the caution of seeing something in a Naki-dik way, in a positive way, not seeing negative things. We also see in this week's Parsha. Let's take a look here in the Parsha, in the Sicha. In the beginning, in Sif Aleph, he starts to bring down that Gemara that we just read with the Rashi. And in the second paragraph starts off a Kamoi. The Kamoi sheyeshna hira b'hashisenim in a gale is a hirut b'loshin. Al derech zeh yishlomim b'hashizu oid hira b'shaychut b'zehirut b're'iyah. Being careful with what you look at. We see the story, Shem v'Yafes, the two children of Noach. Nizru, they were careful. We saw in the ending what happened. Noach got drunk. B'tachlos hazehirus miliris erves avim. V'yelchu acharanit Pneim echeranit ve'ervas avim loiro. Says the Chum, he looked. Not only he looked, he didn't do anything about it. He just went to tell them. He didn't try to help the situation. Shem v'yefes, they right away, they didn't look, and they went to do something about it. Cover him. Take care of the situation. So, and we see as Char Zehirut on this Zehirut, Madgish Goyd of Erka. You see how special it is. Baruch Hashem Elokei Shem, V'chi Chnan Eved Lomer, Yafto the Kinu Yefes, Kishal Hashem. There's a lot of brachas to Yefes and Shem because of what they did. So, Lamaisa, we see two nice things in the parasha: being careful with our lashon naki, and being careful what we see. Tonight, we learned in the beginning of the parasha, the ending of the parasha. Now, the Rebbe has an interesting diuk now. That can sit based on a besipur and niskevel tzarech lahavin. This story about Shem b'yafis, we need to understand something about it. Achrei shakasa oimer sheholcha ba'oimer shepnei macheranis. And it's a movement shira over savim shepnei macheranis. Ma moisif b'tevois be'eretz savim loiro. The Torah says they turned their faces. Their faces were not facing their father. Pnei macheranis. They were walking forward, but their face was like this. So then the Torah adds in ve'ervat avihem loy ro. They did not see the nakedness of their father. The Torah obviously they didn't. We have to tell you that they're not seeing. They turned their face. They didn't see it. We must say shakasu mechadish b'zeh. Top of the left column. Inyan omayla miyuchedet man hagashem yefes. Hashem iteves hakoidmes pnei loy hayinus. There must be something episa hoisafa. Not only pnei macheranis, but ervas aviyim loyro. Now, in order to understand this, inyan, order to understand this inyan, so the Rebbe goes in to discuss a Torah of the Baal Shem Tov. You know, there's a famous Torah of the Baal Shem Tov. We all know, maybe some of us know or heard of. Baal Shem Tov, when you see bad in someone else, it means that you have that bad in you or something similar to that.
Yeah.
Something similar to you. And it said it's like a mirror. That you look inside the mirror. If you see dirt in a clean face, it means you're clean. If you see dirt, it means you have some dirt by you. Check by yourself. This Torah, we know this Torah from the Sefer Ma'or Einayim. The Sefer Ma'or Einayim is a very chashuv, early Hasidic work, published by Reb Nachum Shenobler. Reb Nachum Twersky. Reb Nachum Shenobler was the father of all the Shenobler dynasty. Chassidus. He was a Talmud of the young Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov, and the oldest Talmidim of the Mezritcha Maggid. So he writes down Torahs that he heard. He has his own Torahs, but he has Torahs that he quotes in the name of the Baal Shem Tov, and Torahs that he quotes in the name of his Rebbe the Maggid. And one of the Torahs he brings is this Torah. Yeah? Let's see over here in Gimel. The Yuvan will understand this, what the Torah meant by adding these 4 extra words. V'hagdim teirasei shabal Hashem Tov, introducing the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov. Shekasher Adam roi ra bezulasei zechocha shedugmas oisei hara nimsa boi ba'atzmei. Okmoi Adam hamabit b're'i. Impanav nikiyim ein roi b'mara shum doifi. He sees dirt. Now the Rebbe had a very basic question on this Torah of the Baal Shem. What is this supposed to mean? The Chayra, when you see Ra, it always means it's in you and not in your friend. Maybe he has the Ra, not Ra from you. Who said it's like a mirror? Mirror means you're looking at yourself. Maybe no, maybe you're seeing Ra. What's the hechach? L'chayra ma'wa hechach sher'iyas hara b'zulasei hu b'chinas devuso mara shahara sh'berei of the Rab, the one who's seeing it. Lama leiti tachem, why is it not possible mitziut kazu shebemet yeshnei hara hanira rak b'chaverei v'hu atzim mushim. Maybe no, I don't have that thing in me. That I don't have. It's in my friend. The Rebbe explains like this. Abir b'zeh. Everything that happens in the world is hashgacha pratis. Also, this occurrence, you see something negative, you notice something negative about your chaver. It's not for no reason. It's something that was brought to him. Mamayla brought this scene to him. He should see this. Chazal tell us everything Hashem created was created for a reason. It's not for nothing. Harei efsher loimer, page 25 on the top. Shemamayla yaviuhu l'dei re'iyas rabbi mishu l'shavim. It's impossible to say that they're going to bring you to see negativity in someone for no reason. El shabavad yesh b'zeh heira. For sure, there's some type of instruction, some lesson. V'heida, some message here. What is that message? Shara nimsa b'arei atzmei. Well, it's talking that you have ra and you have to fix it. Otherwise, why did you see it? Now,
It's when every time you see somebody you think is right by you, automatically.
we're going to see. Not always. Now, I'm just going to summarize. It says in the next paragraph. We're going to jump to Dalit because Koisa has man. So the Rebbe says, why did it have to be in such a way? You need to have to be shown something to recognize. You need to fix something in you, right? Why does it have to happen that I have to see it in someone else? Why can't I be told it to myself? Because why can't I hear about this directly? Because we know the pasuk says, "Akol peshoyim v'chasa ava." A person has ava. It could be for even another person. If you love someone, you're not going to see the negative traits. For sure, on yourself, avas atzmai, you love yourself the most. We all love ourselves. Kamaycha, we love ourselves the most. So we don't see, when we see the faults in someone else, we don't cover it up ourselves. We always find terutzim for why we do things. So when we see, someone will tell it us directly, well, on ourselves, we'll not want to accept it. But if we see it in someone else, when we think about it, we'll come to recognize on our own in a sensitive, gentle way to recognize that we also have this problem. Right? That we have these problems. Siv Dalit, the Rebbe asked like this. What came up? What did the Rebbe answer here? The Torah of Baal Shem, we had a question. Just because that you saw something in someone else means it's in you, who says? Maybe it's only in him, not in you. The Rebbe answers, because everything is bashkacha pratis. If you were shown this scene, that you should see that this negativity, this ra in someone else, there must be a reason for it. That you should learn a lesson for yourself. It's not for no reason. But then Siv Dala, the Rebbe is going to ask, yeah, in a chanami there's a reason. Who said the reason is for you? Maybe the reason is because you have to take care of that ra in someone else. We have a mitzvah, you have to give musa to someone. You have to take care of someone else. In the bottom of the right column, tafkid is the tafkid of a yid not only to refine yourself, you're supposed to affect your surroundings. Chazal teach us afilu mea pamim. Vim kain, mi yoimer. What's the hashkacha pratis here? Maybe the hashkacha pratis is not for me. Hashkacha pratis on that person. Mi yoimer shaka kavana bazem shema maila haru. The kavana why you were shown this mamaila. Haru sarashus lost v'deshi yirev yivada shoyisar anim saboy. To olavari that's in himself. Tachalek of Shute, a Kavana Bemsi Harisi said Asha Chaveri, they should who Haraya, Yichichai, he has a saknate to Badaki. No, you were shown the Ra because you have to help him. You have to help the person. Why is that Hashkacha Pratis of seeing the Ra mean I have it in me? No, maybe I saw not because of me, because it's taka in that person. But in order for me to help him, I have to see it in order to tell him off. Make sure he doesn't know that this is a wrong behavior. I should tell him this is wrong what he's doing. So basically, a lot of this we learned inside from Sif Hey and Sif Vav is what we were learning about in the Gemara. Rebbe basically goes in to bring this Gemara from Safin. And he says it's pshat in the Gemara, but Raisali like Sif Tameh. And the Rebbe learns that when it comes to halacha, the psak, you have to say it clearly. Psak, you're allowed to say tomei. Comes to halacha. Comes to sipur dvarim, that should be v'loshen naki. So the Rebbe said like this. What does that teach you? What does that teach you? What can you learn from this? When you see the Ra in someone else, you saw Ra. It depends. How did you look at it? When you saw the negativity, how did you look at it? Did you look at it that he's a bad guy and that's it? Or did you look at it that he has a problem, and we need to help him with it? We need to work with him. We need to think of ways how we can help the person. So if you're thinking about ways how to help the person, it's like a halacha. You're looking at it as a halacha. You have to help the person. Then taka, the ra is not in you, the ra is in him. But then the hashkacha pratis is that you have to help him. In taka, we don't say the Torah the Baal Shem Tov in such a case. That's when you're thinking that you want to help the person. But what happens if you see the ra of the person itself, not amanas latakin, you just see the ra, then what's the hashkacha pratis of it? You're not planning on helping the person. You're not thinking about helping him. So why did Hashem show you this? Just so you should laugh at the other person and feel you're better? The Eibusha showed it to you for a reason. You know why he showed it to you? That you should remind yourself you also need to do tshuva. This is a reminder to you. You look at him, it reminds you that you have something, maybe not the same thing, something similar that you have within you that you have to fix. So work on yourself. Similar to what we find that when the Torah speaks for Lashon Nikiya, the Torah, we speak B'Lashon Nikiya by a Sipur Dvarim. By Psak Halacha, you could say, it says Tameh. Same thing when we see something. Not only B'Dibur, when we see something. If we see it as a Psak Halacha, as something to take care of, when we look at the situation, are we looking at it as a bad situation? Or are we looking at a situation that we need to take care of the situation? It need to be mataka in the situation. If you're looking at it as a halachic situation, yeah, tamei. By halacha, it's tamei. You have the tamei is by that person. But if it's just a sipur dvarim, you're just looking at it not in a halacha eyes. You're looking at it, such negativity he has, such bad midas he has, such bad things the person has. Then you're not looking at it halachadik. You're looking at it as a sipur dvarim. We're not talking about we're speaking, we're talking about Re'iyah, but the Rebbe learns out, just like by the Gemara, we see from the Gemara that there's a chiluk between when you speak lahalacha, You speak Sipur Dvarim, so the Rebbe the same meaning as when you see something. It depends how you're looking. So the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov doesn't apply in all cases. Meaning, step one is whatever you see is Bashkaha Pratis. If you notice this thing by someone else, Bashkaha Pratis, the question is, what is Bashkaha Pratis? If you were looking at it and thinking about how I want to help him and such a rachmanis on him, he doesn't know, and I want to do something, it's a big problem. I'm going to speak to someone, I'm going to work on him, I'm going to speak to someone else, I'm going to think, maybe I one day could think of how to help him. Whatever way it might be, the best way to help him. That's not. It could be discussion how you have done, but you feel that you want that's something to metakin. You're not koching in the ra. You're koching in the tikkun. Then that's the hashkacha pratis. But if you were busy thinking about that, you were busy koching that he has ra and he has bad in him, and you're koching in the bad, then the hashkacha pratis is that you should not think bad about him. Fix yourself. Fix yourself. Let's see, like a look in middle page 27. The paragraph starts kasher. In the left column, page 27. Kasher shemei, when a person hears sheish misol also davar bilti hogum chas v'shalom, he did something wrong. Hachoy v'bazeh lires halacha l'maisa shingim. You should look at it as a halacha l'maisa. Not about bad. Think about what you need to do to help him. To rebuke him. In the proper way. It doesn't mean you go over to start screaming at him, yelling at him. You have to do it in the proper way. To bring him back. That needs to be the ikr that you're looking at. But when in situations he hears about negativity, the loy toiv of the zulas, and he sees not the hayra that you need to do to help the person. You see the ra of chavedei, or akapanim, that's the ikr that you see. They say meresh margish loy anichitzut mitzidoy lataknoi kim eich sheyesh mitzias rab zulasei. Harei ze raya muchacha shepanov mutunofen. Then your own face is netoneh. Very chassidish word to the Baal Shem Tov. Shaloi tev shev zalasi hu haraya haloi toiv. That's me, his own loy toiv. So he said, "Meres mikivin shekol ma shekadish baruch hu b'lam leibara davar echel atala. Nothing was levatala. Shebachol prat shuraya yesh neira michedes. Didn't that eira fully he loy. Zeh shemarim loy m'mayla shish b'chavina zokol v'tikum. Harei zeira 28. Shalom v'sasik yimim b'teil takni. Zeh shemarim yin shorah. Zeira sharanim saboy v'hutzal sakim v'satzmai. Shemuhu ba'atzma hoy b'madega sadik. Loy hayaroya magish l'sara. There was no reason for you to see it. Remember, it's hashkacha pratis. So there was no reason for you to notice this, to pick up on it. There was no reason you should have picked up on his ra if it's not negayah to you. Either it's negayah to you that you're going to fix it, and then it's taka his ra. But why it was shown to you was, why you noticed it was that you should help him fix it. But if you're not planning on fixing it, then what were you shown for it? You're not planning on fixing it. It must be you were shown to it because you're not on the tzaddik, at least in this thing that you see. Maybe other areas you're a tzaddik, but not in this prat. You have something similar to that in you. Otherwise, why did you see it? Stam, Hashem just showed you ra, that you should just see the ra, see subnei meya, see the ra of Yechaver. We'll go back to the beginning of the Sikha. We asked, why did it say Pnei Macheranis? And then it's Moisif, the pasuk ve'erves avim loiro. What do you need to say this? We know. Hakavana bazeh. Bazeh yivor ma sifches ma shakosim Moisif erves avim loiro. Afshel l'chayr is a movement and never koyin Pnei Macheranis. Hakavana is a lahadgish Delays of Achim Shem B'Yefes Lo Yiro Ever Saviyim. We're moving on Gashmi. Obviously, they did not see the Ever Saviyim because of Pnei Mecharatz. The Torah wants to madgish more. Elo oid yoter. V'lo yiro v'lo yigishu in shel erva v'chitzonin Saviyim. Hagashasa mitzrachsa kula bazeh shehein sichim lasis achasis. That's Saviyim. Erva Saviyim ifnei atzma. Lo yiro. Torah is saying a gavaldik yiro. Erva Saviyim lo yiro. They didn't, not only did they not see the Erva Kipshutai, because their faces turned around, they didn't Bichlal see the Erva. They didn't think in their mind about the negativity of their father. That's not what they were busy with. They were busy with the tikkun, latakin. You have to cover, you have to take care of the situation. But not busy. Kacham was busy koching. He was busy involved with, oh, look at our father. Look what he did. He came over. They were busy thinking in their mind, not about the Ra, about what do we do to help the situation. It was a different outlook in life. So therefore the Torah wants to let you know, not only Pnei Mecheranis, the Erva Savim Leiro, they didn't see an Erva here, they saw a tikkun, a Maisa needs tikkun. And the Rebbe continues on over here, in the ending, the last paragraph over here, that's why the brothers were different. Why? Because they had a different level to themselves. Why were they different than Chav? Remember, the Baal Shem Tov's title was that you have negativity in yourself. Shem v'Yefes didn't have negativity. Cham had. Where do we see Cham had? Cham avi Kanan. Mikivan shara shehoye boy ba'atzmei. Ki Cham in Yoni Chamimut. In the Chassidus explains Cham Eloshen Chamimut. Shemikav Hasmoil comes from the left side, not from the right. L'chein Ra ben Noach es aloi toiv shavayesh vayishkar kizam zeu in Chamimut. Now, Cham had in him Chamimut. Now, Eina Chanami, he didn't do what his father did. But Lamaisa, the fact that he was able to see this Ra as a Ra for itself means that he had within him Bedakos. Bedak Yoter, he had this Nakud in him. She'enki Shem B'Yefesh, Shem Mikavi Yemin Mikavi Mtzoi. In Kabbalah and Zohar it says Shem is from Yemin, and Yefes is from the Mtzoi. Kavim say Etzom Araz and Mushluhu. Eine filo v'dakas. They didn't have any Ra. U'ba'atzam nikim lagami meraz. This Ra, this specific Ra, v'yesht v'yishkar, they didn't have it in them at all. And therefore, oz einem royim oisegam bazul. Because they didn't have it in them, you don't see it in someone else. Heim royim yoidim rakas avoid tells. What did they see? They saw what they needed to take care of. That's what they saw. This siftas zuei ra l'kolach mitano. The eish shoyim meirayim. Eiz a davar loy tovish Yisrael. Levad they should also davar l'sap mizal achedim because lashon hara loy k'meisha also cham. She stopped as a shiraz. And not only he saw it, hal shoy the diaz al achedim v'yag l'shnei echad b'chutz. Al od yeter. Mizah she'ein lahara afilu machshava. Me'arash al zulas. You shouldn't even think about it. So chazbainim malasis, but the lashon hara doesn't mean, oh, in your mind, I'll think whatever I want bad about the guy. You're just not going to say it. Okay, that's also a level. It's a level, madrega. But the real avodah is that even in your machshava, you shouldn't think bad about somebody. That's not difficult. That's very difficult. So chazbainim malasis, but think about what you need to do. Eich lehichichoy, va'efen haroi. Well, attack me. Should be try to work on yourself not to see him in a negative light. It's very hard avodah. It's very, very hard avodah. You're working with someone. he has Ra, you shouldn't see him in a bad light. You should be melamed zchus on him, think in a good light. And what you should see in him is try to think about how to correct him, to fix it. Work on these two things. Work with him on how to fix it. And at the same time, try as hard as you could not to see the Ra in him. See him, and then we get the schus, the haftacha. Baruch Hashem Elokei Shem, Yafta L'kim L'Yafes. Our Yishkein, where's going to be the Yishkein? Olei Shem. That's going to be Kalim the Torah, because the Targum Yonis and Nazil says, Yishkein Olei Shem, Yishim Midrasha the Shem. The Beis Medrash Hashem. Shaklil Torah Hashalom, Shazeich Ma'ashas Hashchina, Shehi Ba'olei Shem, Bein Ba'is Hashlishi, the Achtas Havisol B'Kol. It's a very shred Avodah, but it's an outlook. The outlook is Erves Avihem Leiro. We try our eyes not to see the negativity of the other person. And if that's all we're seeing, we have to check ourselves. There was one time someone came, a Talmud of a certain tzaddik, and he came and told him that, he thinks that the Katzav in town, that he's being mezana, he's doing things wrong. So the tzaddik told him, you're not being careful with negovasser. Tilat Yadayim is worse than what is making worse of a problem. You on your level, you're in a much higher madrega. This thing that you're not doing, so we have to know. Sometimes we see that something to realize that we are not tzaddikim. We have a. It doesn't mean if we need to fix it, we have to take care of what we need to fix. But we also have to remember that we have to take care of ourselves also. This is all a beer in the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov.
And I have a consciousness on Shabbos. So somebody opened the door and the Rebbe looked at him and said, Shabbos, thank you. And the Rebbe went after Charmaine in the back. Again, some guy opened the door. The Rebbe looked at him and said, Shabbos, thank you. Every Shabbos. The problem is, this guy came from Manhattan by train Shabbos morning because he wanted to open the door for the Rebbe. So after a few weeks, somebody at the chutzpah told the Rebbe, what you do? The guy is riding train on Shabbos for you, and you say, the Shabbos, thank you to him. So the Rebbe said, I see that he's not Mechal Shabbos right now. I see the positive. I don't see the negative. It's Mechal Shabbos.
Yeah.
He's 770 from Shabbos morning till afternoon, couple hours. Now this couple hours is Mechal. The ear was so different.
Just great about talking about. Yeah,
The Rebbe one time, the Rebbe had a minig he started after his mother was nifter. He started to cover his mother every Shabbos by the Fabringen. He would explain a Rashi on the Parshas. He started that only in 1965, in the beginning of 1964, and then in 1965 and he would explain a Rashi. He would pick a Rashi and explain it. Rashi ala Torah. We ask many questions on it and then give an explanation, like a shir, Fabringen. But there was Nagunim in between and Fabringen. Now there was a Yid who was in Crown Heights. He wasn't Chabad, but Crown Heights then lived many other. It was not just Chabad, like Borough Park. So he was another. He heard the Rebbe's teaching Rashi. He liked to learn Rashi ala Torah. So he would come. He would daven in his shul. It wasn't a Chabad shul. And he would come after to the Rebbe's Fabringen. The Rebbe would Fabringen Shabbos 1:30. He didn't let you have a Suda, the Rebbe. You have to make right in the middle, cut off the day. 1:30. But he would maybe daven in a shul, daven a little earlier, to have some more time, to make some kiddush, and then he come to. But he wanted that the Rebbe should give him the Rashi before the Fabringen, so he'll know what to prepare. He'll look in the Mefarshim, he'll think about it. So the Rebbe told him, okay, he'll give it to him, the Maramokim. But the Rebbe didn't know till the morning, because at night he would prepare it. The night before the Fabringen, Friday night, the Rebbe would stay in his room after davening. He didn't go home to his house right away. He would stay there for a few hours, and he would learn and prepare. And then he would go home to make Kiddush on President Street and that. So they knew a lot of times that sometimes when they didn't know there was going to be a Fabrengen, if the Rebbe stayed very long in his room, it's probably there's going to be a Fabrengen the next day. Anyway, so in the morning when the Rebbe came to 770, he would come earlier. Shachar was late; it was 10 o'clock, but he would come earlier to 770. When he walked in, this Yid was waiting for the Rebbe. Let's say the Rebbe came at 8 o'clock, so he was waiting for the Rebbe, and the Rebbe would tell him which Rashi he's going to talk about, and he would go back to his shul, he would daven, and he would prepare the Rashi and make Kiddush, come back to the Fabrengen. Now, the Siddim, they heard the Rebbe's telling him, well, now we'll announce in the shul. So it was also a way to know if the Rebbe's Fabrengen. Now the Rebbe's saying he's going to speak, we know it's going to be a Fabrengen that week. So there was some people would hear what the Rebbe was saying, which Rashi, and they would go downstairs, tell the Gabbai. There was a Gabbai then, Yochanan Gordon, and I think he just had a grandson who was Nifter, someone from the Five Towns. So so Yochanan Gordon would announce when the Rebbe came into the shul, he announced it's going to be a Fabrengen, and the Rebbe is all gesund signs going to speak about this and this Rashi.
He used to get it from the dinner right before. Announce.
Okay, someone else. So maybe it was different times. And the Rebbe, now, 1 week.
I do remember once that he announced that it wasn't the Rashi. And the Rebbe didn't want to start doubting. He wanted the person who told him which Rashi they told him.
You were there?
I was there.
So that's about exactly what I was about to say. Now we have a eyewitness was here. So it was 1 week.
And nobody came up after around 10, 15 minutes. They were continuing on the side to go.
So
you guys have a little confused. It wasn't me.
So the Rebbe, 1 week, someone played a game. Shtick. Someone went and told the Gabbai, he thought it was fun. Narish. He told the Gabbai that the Rebbe is going to speak about this in this pasuk. Loi dubim v'loi yar. There was no bear, there was no forest. The whole story never happened. The Rebbe never said anything. And the Gabbai thought, no, the Rebbe is going to be a Fabrengen. And the Rebbe was going to say, the Rebbe was not planning a Fabrengen at all. Not that week. But the Gabbai says right in front of the Rebbe that the Rebbe is going to Fabreng and he's going to speak about this and this Rashi. And the Rebbe's face turned colors.
He didn't prepare.
And not he didn't prepare. He wasn't Bechlal going to mitvahed. He wasn't planning anything. And the Rebbe, like Bensha told us now, the Rebbe wanted to know who did this. And the Rebbe said he's not starting Shachris.
Wow.
Till he knows he's standing by the stender and he's waiting. Waiting. Finally, there was one person that came up, and he was really the one. He didn't.
He wasn't there.
He was the one who heard it from the guy,
Uh-huh.
like something. He heard it from someone, and he told the Gabbai, but he didn't know that it was not true.
Not the Rebbe.
But the Rebbe went like this. I heard. I don't know if it's true. Like nicht Mainzman, not him. And the Pale the Rebbe started. At a certain point, he waited for a while. They didn't find out who did it. The person, I think, ran out of some 70, and that was, he was gone already. And the Rebbe had to daven. That was it. The next Shabbos, the Rebbe did Fabring. No Fabring, and he wasn't planning Fabring. The next Shabbos, the Rebbe had a schedule. He was not planning that week. The next Shabbos was a Fabringen schedule. And the Rebbe and the Fabringen said like this. The week before, this whole episode happened. And the Rebbe said like this. Really, I shouldn't have gotten upset. If this was meant to happen to me, min hashamayim, like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, al hanizik var nigzam min hashamayim, whatever is going to happen to you in life, you're going to be hurt, you're going to be damaged, it's min hashamayim. The person who did it, he had bechira to do it. he gets punished for what he did in life. But whatever happened to anyone in life was meant to happen to you. It's bechira chavshis. On the other hand, everything's hashkacha pratis. How it works together is very difficult to understand. But we believe that everyone has free choice. The same time everyone has free choice, whatever happened to you was supposed to happen to you. So the guy took free choice to hit you. The fact that you got hit, you were supposed to get hit. This is a hashkacha. It's not even Baal Shem Tov, it's Judaism. Now, hashkacha pratis is an ala min ha'adam. It's in all the psukim that everything happens to you is a punishment, it's a bagat. Anyways, so the Rebbe, I shouldn't have gotten upset. Then the Rebbe said that, however, there's some type of lesson for me over here. The Rebbe said I deviated from my ancestors. My Rebbes, the previous Rebbes, they never did such a thing. They don't give out sources, Mare Mekamot, Mekairas, before they give a Fabrengen. This is like Rosh Hashivas. In Litvish Rosh Hashivas, before they give the Shir, they give you on the wall. We're going to discuss this Gemara, this Rashi, this Tosfos, prepare. But Chsivish Fabrengen, never did any of the Rebbes give, and will never, but they didn't give before sources. So the Rebbe said, I went away from what was done. So it's a lesson to me. I'm not going to give out anymore the Rashi before. You'll hear like it was originally. I didn't say that someone asked. Like it. But then the Rebbe said something else. Because there wasn't made an announcement, but that I should speak about this specific Rashi. I think I should talk about this Rashi. Because as a Hashemayim, they were showing me that I have some bitter to say about this Rashi, some chidush, something to say about that. Now, he already said our Rashi in that week's Parsha, he explained. But now he said a short vart on that Rashi from the week before, that he didn't have that he wasn't planning. This Shabbos, he said something about that, because well, Maila, he said, I'm going to talk about it. So Epis Ligda, Mashumunachkan. That was the Rebbe took the hira from it. That I have to learn a lesson. He spoke about it. And then he stopped giving out the Rashi. Right? But then this Yid again, who so much loved the Rashi Sichos, he again prevailed on the Rebbe to give the Makar again, and the Rebbe relented and gave it again. He started again to give the Mara Makim again.
No.
Maybe not to the later years. At some point it stopped, maybe. But this year the Rebbe was very happy because he felt he's speaking to Fabeng and someone's listening, and he's asking questions afterwards.
In fact, once in the Fabeng, the Rebbe said, "Liti is a rumge over here, or Kochzach in the Rashi." The Rebbe used his name.
I don't think it was Fabeng. No?
Wow.
So everything's about shkacha pratis, and we have to learn something out, and we have to be careful when we speak. We're a little more careful the way we see things in life. We have to try. It's very, very difficult, very, very difficult. But we have to know we're not perfect, and we have to think about things in our own life that we can work on. And of course, we can help someone, helps him. But if we're not planning on helping him, better not to talk too much and think too much about his bad. Because you're not planning on doing anything anyways about it. So better think about yourself and what you can learn about it. If you plan on doing something, very good. In the proper way, in the right way, to help the person. If you go do something, you have a way to help someone. Maybe not right now, maybe some later time. Good, find a way.
You mentioned Rashi. Rashi himself said, one time I was walking, and I saw a lady riding a horse. And it bothered me. Why I should be there to see it. Later on, when he was riding the Perush in Choshen, so now I understand why they saw it.
Right.
If you have over there the Rochev, and you have Rashi. And you have Re'iyah.
Shavayach for joining. Rabbi Davis and
Chaim, the Chazan?
someone else. A good Shabbos, a good Shabbos. Good Kodesh.